Hi everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and I want to show you this really cute Christmas card I created. Now, just as a side note, this paper that I'm using is a DSP that's retired. It was actually free from Celebration, so you probably have some of it left hanging around. However, it actually coordinated with this suite here. However, you could also make this into a non-Christmas card because one of my stamp club ladies did, and it was really cute. The other thing is I did not purchase the stamp set. I only got the dies and the folder. So the dies and the folder, it's a hybrid embossing folder. So you get, and I'll show you, it's easier that way. You get this 3D embossing folder, and then it comes with this whole slew of dies. So the cool part is this will die cut all of these. And then it has another set of layers, as you can see, that will die cut as well. So I'm going to show you how to use this today. You do use it separately. You don't do it all at once, which is what I thought. But, you know, I'm going to show you how to do it so it's easy. So this is actually in the holiday or occasions catalog on page 62. You can get this as a bundle, and you'll save 10%. We do have a sale starting on the 15th of November. Now that is for the annual catalog. It's discounts on stamps, punches, dies, and I believe either cardstock or ink. I'm not quite sure which one, but that sale runs the 15th. I believe it's through the 18th of November. So this is not in that sale selection, but if you do buy these together, which you could use this for so many other things. If you were doing welcome home cards, I think this is absolutely adorable. I have to do something like this. Even though I don't necessarily have the words to go with it, I'm sure I can figure something else out. And the tree ring does actually come with the die, and this does coordinate with one of the dies to cut out, but I don't really think you need to have the stamp set, and I really like the dies enough that I got it just alone on its own. So one other thing I wanted to tell you, in case you don't have that paper, is you could use, we have the gingham cottage, so there's a lot of other selections you could use. This is probably the closest to Poppy Parade, but I believe this is real red. But what you could do is you could come in with your, and I was going to show you, mint was the other color. You could draw some thin and wide stripes on here to make it into a check. So you could do that. You could also use the green, which is in here. I'm pretty sure this is garden green, if I'm not mistaken. That's also in the gingham cottage. And then the other thing you could do is you could either use the black and white large border, and then you could draw in Poppy Parade with your Stampin' Blends and mint macaron. So just a couple ideas for you in case you don't necessarily have this paper, or you could just change color schemes and do something rogue. So when I created this card, I had enough for all of my club members, but I didn't have enough for myself to make a sample. So I actually cut this down instead of using a full piece. However, they all kind of liked it the way it was. So they ended up cutting theirs and kind of, yeah, going from there. But it's kind of funny. You know, you think you're saving pieces for people, and then they're like, no, I like your way better. So we're going to start by embossing this piece of soft suede. And I'm going to put this in. And just a little note for you. Okay, when you are embossing something with a 3D, if the Stampin' Up is facing up, that means it will emboss out towards you. So I learned that also because I embossed something and I had it facing the wrong direction, and the pretty side of the paper was facing down, and it didn't really work out as well, so it was debossed. So if you want it to face up to you, make sure the Stampin' Up faces up. Now doing this with the Big Shot, which is still, I know you all still know I have that, you're going to actually put this on your old platform with your blue plate. If for some reason you don't have the blue plate, you can either make a shim, as many of my Stamp Club members have done, or you probably could go somewhere and find that blue Sizzix plate, which helps make this a little bit easier. So you can see it gives a super deep embossing. Now, we're not finished with this yet, because now we're going to move on to cutting. So what you're going to do is grab the piece you just did, and then we're also going to do, actually we need to do this one again, I fibbed. So I'm going to do this afterwards. This is a piece of Sahara sand, and I need to emboss this as well, and I'll show you that one in a minute. So we'll go back and do that in a second. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and die cut this because we do need this. You can see it lines up. It only goes one way. So we're going to line this up. It fits on there perfectly. And we're going to die cut these. Then I'm going to pop this back in here, and we're going to emboss the Sahara sand piece. All right, so here I have my die cuts, and I really don't need 4, so we'll just see how we go. We could put this piece on the inside if we wanted to. And this other piece that we embossed, now we're going to, I'm going to move this on the side, we're going to do a little bit of deeper die cutting. So with this, you kind of just have to figure out which piece goes with which. It's not really terrifically difficult. So we're going to do that. And then to have those little pieces so it looks like cut in the rings, I'm just going to put that there. And we'll cut all of these, even though we're probably not going to use them all. They do line up pretty simply. Oh, except that one made me look like a fibber. Now, if you want to run the cut portions through, you will need to do it more than once because you only have 2 of these little cut pieces, but you do have all 5 of these tree rings, so if you wanted to cut them. And I think I'm going to tape this last one in place because I might use that for the inside of the card. We'll see. So this one is going to go over here, and I kind of try to keep lining it back up the correct way on the die, or my magnetic sheet, I should say, because I feel like I can keep them in order and fit everything in better. So if you wanted to go back and have your little center pieces, you're just going to lift these and kind of relocate it. We'll go like that. We'll pass this through one more time just for those 2. And that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to put this here, and I'm going to line these pieces back up. Pretty sure the best, oops, I can. That big one, medium, and small. I didn't do this one, but again, that was just that little piece. So we have those. And then this you could use also if you wanted to do this as a peekaboo card. You could cut this. I would use a little bit bigger. This is 4 by 5 1/4. If you're going to do the piece that peekaboos, I would do a full sheet, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That way you'll have enough holes. You could always replace some of the holes. You could have, I've seen the squirrels peeking through, which is a super cute idea. And we're going to do one more thing. So I'm going to do this twice just so you can see what I did, but I actually only did it once for this. And I just re-inked my stamps after Stamp Club, so they could be a little bit juicy. I actually still see some spots here. So I did this after class because I noticed that we used a lot of ink for some of them. So I'm just going to take my spoon and just press the ink in so I don't have any uneven inked spots. This is also good if you have a new pad. You can kind of push the ink one side to the other. And I do just continually reuse the same spoon. Only thing I forgot was my stamp set, which is this one. This is a limited time stamp set. So I did Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And I think I'm going to do 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly for this one instead, just to change it up a little bit. I know we have some jingle bells. You could add that to it. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp this, and then I'm going to cut it out, so I'm going to stamp it twice. That way, in case I botch one up on there. And then we're going to just put this together. I'm going to let that dry for a second while we assemble this. So I'm only going to just be adhering these together. That's the other side of that paper, in case you recognize it. I think it was called, I wonder if it was called Ring with Nature. It was the Celebration DSP. This is 3 3/4 by 5. Goes onto a piece of Poppy Parade that is 4 by 5 1/4. Goes onto a base of Mint Macaron, which is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Okay, so that looks good there. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to assemble these pieces. So the 2 cut pieces, those 2 little ones, I'm going to leave them there. Just grab my pokey tool, pop out the holes. Okay, and they pretty much line up relatively simply. No, that's the wrong direction. There's one, biggest one, Just like that. Oh, and I want to show you one other thing I did that made this just a little bit more, not really lifelike, but it gave a little bit of depth to the card. That, and then finally, and I'm just going to put these together with a little bit of liquid glue. And this, so just like that. So I'm just going to do a little bit of, not a lot, just a teeny bit of liquid glue. Put these together. You certainly don't need to use all of them. Really just depends on what you want to do. And what I kind of tend to do is just to see how I like them before I put them down. I did put some flat and then put some on dimensionals. Okay. And I'm going to glue that other one too because I may use that on the inside. I'll show you that in a minute. What I've been doing is, if we have any little leftover pieces of DSP, since I've been cutting it, I kind of just adhere it to the inside just to give the inside like a little bit of something. So I think that's cute. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take your espresso, or you could use, I'm sorry, this is soft suede. You could use espresso. You're going to take this and you're going to just roll that, and you can see, look at the difference between these two. It gives it a little bit of depth. You could also do this with a blending brush, a sponge dauber, but I kind of think it just gave like a little bit of, oops, get a little crazy, gave a little bit of something to the edge of these. I'm going to let that one sit because that's going to go on the inside and I don't want to goof it up. And you can go straight, you can go on a 45-degree angle if you want to pick up more, you know, really just whatever you want to do. All right, and I don't think I have, you know what, I forgot. When I did this on the inside, and I'll show you, I actually just stamped it with mint macaron because it was light enough that you don't really need a panel. Just thinking about that. Okay, so what do we do? 'Tis the season to be jolly. Let's just do the fa la 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 because that's pretty funny. And I'm going to do that in mint, and then I'm going to add a little strip of DSP, okay, to the inside. I have a little piece left over, so this is the only thing I did not trim. Just going to bring in my little trimmer here. Let's see. So we'll go with, we're just going to use, this is about 1 inch scrap. Yep, so I'm just going to put that at the bottom. And then we'll tuck that little tree ring piece somehow on there. I think what I might do is actually, I wonder what this would look like. Now, I might still put it on the bottom, kind of like it's peeking out. To have that, just a teeny gap around on that. Kind of wanted it so it was like sticking off the side. I don't know if I like it as much now. Yeah, we'll just stick it in there. I'm just going to tuck it in. So normally I would have trimmed this to the edge, but since I'm going to tuck it underneath, I don't really think it matters. Just give that just a moment to press. Okay. All right, now I'm going to kind of decide. So again, I have like the biggest one was in the front, but we could kind of put the bigger one in the back. And we could put like this. I think I still am going to have this one raised. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on this guy here. It's the last piece of that one. I know I've said it before, but it still cracks me up every time when I used to buy dimensionals and I threw the whole outer ring away. Yep, that was me. All right, we're going to put this here. Again, if you wanted a little bit more, you could even sponge that just a smidge. I think I'm going to put this one up as well. So let's see. If we put that here, I feel like I'm going to put one here. So I'm going to try not to make it too bulky. Okay. Put this one up. And that, I feel like I didn't hold that glue down enough. Let me just give that a press. You could add a little bit of ribbon to this if you wanted to. All right, so just give that a press. And then the only other thing we have to do is add, I'll just put this back in my stash and use it for something else. Just have to add our sentiment. All right, so generally what I do when I do this is I just kind of start with my snips. I know a lot of times people will do it with their trimmer, but I feel like when I do it with my trimmer, I always cut it so it's not spaced appropriately, if that makes sense. So what you could do is you could trim around and just have it like that. Let's try that this time. So I'm just going to trim. I'm going to try to stay square, except when I get to the swirly parts, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to stay super close to the sentiment. Just keep it really tight. Okay, same with this, because these are pretty much in a line. Okay, and here's where we're going to get a little bit silly on our fussy cutting, which is fine. So if I don't like it this way, we might cut it apart anyway. The other thing you could do to this that's really fun is if you stamp, and we might do this because I could end up not loving it, which does sometimes happen to me. We could end up stamping just the word season in mint and overlay it onto our sentiment, so it kind of brings those things back together again, if that makes sense. I'll show you what I mean in 1 second. Let me just get that little piece. There we go. Yeah, let me just trim this just a smidgy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to grab, I'm just going to wipe this off because I didn't have any of my cleaning products here. So I have this here, and I have my little piece here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up season, just really the top. And we're going to stamp that just so season is right here. All right, I'm going to give that just a second to dry. Okay. And I'm going to cut this pretty close. Not super close, but pretty close. And then we're going to lay this over top, but we're going to put it up on a dimensional, just some little mini winnies. I think that's big enough. Let's see. And then we're going to add just a little bit of embellishments with some, oops, here, look, just as a quick tip. If you ever get this and you feel like you really have to be good at lining it up, if you put a little bit of liquid glue on top of your dimensional, it really makes it slippery enough that you can slide it kind of to where you want it. So you can kind of adjust it around because it doesn't really set quite as quickly. Give that a press. All right, so there's that. I feel like this just needs just a smidge of a, there we go. We're gonna put this on, and I'll just save this other sentiment. We can use this for something else later. And we'll bring those around. So we're gonna put this here. I'm gonna put this on dimensionals on the top, and then I think the bottom will be glue because this is lower. Let me see where I like it. Yeah, so we're gonna put one here. Come on. And one here. And one more. I'm gonna kind of squeeze in right in there. Let me take this off. That'll be good. And then I'm gonna put liquid glue on the bottom. So we'll kind of change it up just a smidge. I'm just going to hold that for a second, and then we're just going to add just a few little embellishments. I know I have a lot of stuff right now. The hardest part is probably sometimes trying to keep up with what is actually an active embellishment. So I usually try to check this. So the adhesive back sequins are adorable. I don't think I got these stars, but they are cute. I should have. I feel like I did get the festive pearls. I know I got these. Let me take a peek and see what we have. We're going to add just a little something to that. Let's see. I think these are the opals. These are the in colors. Oh, they would kind of work well. And then we have the in color jewels. I think I'm going to use the jewels because they have a little bit more of a sparkle to them. But let's see. Well, I'm going to use, I'm going to use a couple of these. We'll just put a couple of these in various places. Come on. Use a couple of the tiny ones. I know these aren't the colors that are in the card, but they're still pretty cute. So I got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we kind of have them in like little triangles of color. Now you could add in as many as you want, as little as you want. It really kind of depends. You could do something gold. That way you would have something that was really sparkly. I really think if I had the adhesive back, just don't feel like I have those. I'm just going to double check, but I'll show you what they look like. The classic matte dots, they're really, really cute as well. And those probably need to go into my section so I know that I have them. I had all my stuff separated so I would know if it was or wasn't current because I have so many things and a lot of them just, I don't ever end up getting to use them before they retire. These are another favorite of mine. But there's lots of fun stuff that you can use. I think that's it. So the sequins, I think I'm going to have to order a pack of those. These are also one of my favorites, the elegant faceted gems. I kind of hope those don't retire because they're really good to use kind of on a anything you can think of card, if that makes sense. You could really use them for pretty much any occasion whatsoever. So let me just pop this stuff out of the way and I will show you between the two different cards. Now, I will tell you that the people who were at Stamp Club really liked having the extra color space versus the full plaid space, and I have to agree with them. Now that I look at it when I've actually made a full card, I do think that I like that as well. It looks really cute because it kind of makes you focus more on the tree rings. But what do you think about it? Would you make this card and send it to someone that you love? If you would like to get any of the supplies to make this card, you can go to my online store 24/7, rachthestamper.stampin'up.net. Again, don't forget we have the November sale special coming up. It starts on the 15th, which is a Tuesday. Sorry, take that back. Starts on the 16th, which is a Tuesday. It runs the 16th to the 18th. My apologies for that. I know I said the wrong date in the beginning. So if you go on there, they do have lots of stuff. They'll actually have a completely different tab available once the sale goes live, so you can see what's on sale, which is super fun. Great way to stock up on stuff if you need some cardstock or some punches or anything like that. So thank you so much for taking time to watch. If you have any questions about this card or anything that I've done, you can leave me a comment here or send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, and if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe. You just have to hit the subscribe button, which is down there. It's red, and then if you hit the bell for notifications when I make a new video or post live, it will send you a notification. And better yet, if you have someone that you love, share this with them. Maybe they would like to see how they can make a card with this really cool hybrid tree ring embossing folder and coordinating die set. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll talk to you again real soon.